Call the meeting to order at 7:05. Will we all please stand for invocation? Bob Myers? Yes.
Lord, we thank and praise you for the privilege of coming to you again. We thank you for your help that you've given even as of this week. Lord, we ask and pray that you would meet with us here in this town board meeting. We pray that you would bless our town board members. We pray that you would give them the wisdom, the guidance, the direction, and help that they need to do what's right for our town. Lord, we thank you and praise you for all that you've done, for all that you're doing, and for all that you're going to do. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Sandy, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Pavoldi?
Here.
Councilwoman Schaefer? Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilman Jacaruso?
Here.
Supervisor Esposito?
Present. I guess Councilwoman Schaefer's got some type of emergency in her family, so she's not unable to attend. Okay. What's the agenda?
You want my copy?
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Excuse me. Okay, privileges of the floor. At every scheduled town board meeting, the public shall have the right to address the town board during a portion of the meeting referred to as privileges of the floor. Members of the public should restrict their comments to items of town business. Although there is no official time constraints, speakers should be considerate of others so that all interested members of the public have an opportunity to be heard. There should be one portion of the meeting dedicated to privileges of the floor near the beginning of each meeting. All remarks and questions shall be addressed to the board. No person shall enter into discussion with the person having the floor. Council members may address any comments during a portion of the meeting referred to as council members' comments. Privilege of the floor is open at 7:10. Please state your name.
Lisa Cranley, Waynesburg Road. I'd just like to make, well, I've got several comments here, so bear with me. I'll try and make it as brief as I can. After watching the video from the last meeting and listening to Susan Schaefer and the comments that were obviously prepared for her, I don't think she wrote it because she struggled through the whole thing, I think was less than becoming of her as a board member. She had Joe Jarzynski sitting on the edge of his seat like a kid on Christmas morning, okay, listening, and then going directly after the meeting, you know, she goes right up to Joe and Mike and gives them a high five. Now, to me, that's quite inappropriate, okay? She said she's not a politician. Well, she ran by a political party. She was endorsed by a political party. She won the election. Welcome Susan to being a politician, whether she likes it or not. She ran with Mike and Joe, and I don't even remember what, it really doesn't matter. But her campaign was nothing but smear, as usual, because that's what they do. She, I believe, set the stage for herself as far as, you know, she's saying that she's here for the people of Princetown. Well, let me ask you if she is. She set the stage with trashing Carol McLean and Michelle Van Wert, only to later say that that's how she thought people campaigned. Well, that's how Mike campaigns, and his friends campaigned. She then attended her first meeting here, came out with guns blazing, trashed Carol McLean again, and then decided to play musical chairs at the next meeting, only then to call the Gazette to complain about her seating arrangements, okay? She doesn't vote yes for any appointments because she says she won't vote for people that she doesn't know. Well, it's not about whether you know them or not, it's about whether or not they're qualified. If they have the experience, if they have the knowledge, if they are qualified, therefore, people are appointed. But she's still being schooled by my choice. Okay, unfortunately, she ran on the assumption and the pretense that Mike was going to win. He did not. Bob won. So, of course, there were sour grapes. Well, that didn't work out for him or her. So she was basically left, I guess, as a Lone Ranger. She didn't know what to do at that point, but still being schooled by Mike behind the scenes. Mike at that time also, not to throw you in, Ben, but this is just part of it, kind of helped you with your campaign, and there were letters that went out from an independent party that you weren't endorsed by. That's the tactics that Mike Joyce uses, okay? Now, I'd like to ask Susan at some point when she decides to show up, what exactly has she done for the people of Princetown? Nothing that I know of. The answer is nothing. She consistently votes no, okay, unless it's related to her friends, her family, or the court. She's not in favor of anything that this town board tries to implement. Nothing. She didn't volunteer or participate in anything. In the biggest event that this town has ever seen, or probably will ever see, she wasn't around, she didn't volunteer, not a bottle of water. She also stated that she was out of town. Well, that's not true either, because she was standing behind me in line at the post office down at the mall on Saturday that this event took place, okay? So I don't know what exactly her best interest is, but it's definitely not for the people of this town. She hasn't done anything. Mike Joyce wasn't here either. Joe Jasinski wasn't here either during that event. And if it wasn't for you and Cheryl and Jim and Hannah and Carol McLean and Doug Thorpe, that event would have never even taken place. That was huge. That wasn't a political event. That was to honor the vets. And they chose, okay, to make it a political statement, to stay away. And that's their choice. That's their prerogative. But to me, that was a slap in the face to every veteran that served in that war, whether they came home or they died there. That was pitiful, pitiful. And she needs to stop playing the victim. She's not a victim of any foul play, wrong play. She's the initiator of any and all trouble that she starts here, okay? And as an elected official, she has to realize that she's going to get positive, and negative criticism, okay? Now, she also tapped on expenses. Now, in spite of the fact that the town, how can I say it? Our court used to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? That, was pretty helpful to the town, and we don't have that anymore. I don't even think the court can sustain itself. And as far as the lawsuit that she keeps bringing up, I feel, and it's only my opinion, but as bogus as it was, and it cost the town, I believe, what, $7,500 for that lawsuit, she should pay her portion, okay? There was no wrongdoing by this town board or any town board member, okay? That was brought on by Mike Joyce and her, okay? Just trying to stir the trouble once again. Once again, they were shot down. She also brought up the fact that questioning the attorney, not our attorney, that represented you guys, Andy Brick. Well, let me ask you this. Mike Cuevas used to be the town attorney. He represented them, didn't he? Okay. That's not a conflict? Okay. The entire time that she's been on this board, she's done nothing but try to stir trouble. okay? Her comments about letters that have been written over the years, that people write them to themselves and apparently drive to Albany to mail them, and every, you know, we're all writing our own letters apparently. I don't think she realized how foolish she sounded. But again, those statements, I think, were pre-prepared, and she wasn't prepared to read them. We all know who sent the letters, who continues to send the letters. He's done it right along. He's been a coward for years, and we all know who that is. And last but not least, I'd like to say congratulations to Lou and to Nicole Moore on last night's wedding. I think the town people are finally aware and agree that this town board is working for the people, doing everything possible to improve the town with minimal funds. And you guys still manage to pull off an enormous amount of stuff that's never been done before, ever. And I'm done.
Thank you, Lisa. Any other comments?
My name is Joe Jasinski. I live on Ennis Road. I'm a veteran of the Vietnam War, as are Doug and Nick of the Korean War. And I tip my hat to both of you guys. But I just want to say that I didn't go to the wall that he was either. This is not part of my prepared statement, but I refuse
Address the
to
board.
honor, I'm going to address you, Lou.
Okay.
The plywood and paint that went on that wall was a trivialization of the memorial in Washington, D.C. I'm sorry, it was ridiculous. But that's all I'll say in reaction to all what was said just recently. In any case, I'm standing here tonight looking at this board, and I am really sad that Susan isn't here, because I want to applaud her enthusiastically for what she expressed as her concern on August 8th. I applaud her courage for making clear how difficult it's been for her as the odd man out, so to speak, on this town board. You guys have ostracized her, it's just as plain as day. As one who sat on this board with Esposito and Myers for 4 years, I found Susan's complaints perfectly credible. This town board exists as it does tonight as a result of shenanigans played out last December when it was decided that Bob Myers did not have what it took to be supervisor. Esposito resigned his seat, and a day later, he was appointed to be supervisor. He was appointed to his present position. And, it must be noted, the chairman of the Schenectady County Legislature, Esposito's first cousin, Tony Jasinski, just happened to be in attendance on that December evening, so Cousin Lou could be sworn in that very night. Shenanigans. Board member Schaefer was kept out of the loop, and when Esposito feebly denied that this was so, it was obvious he was not telling the truth. It was obvious he was not telling the truth, and should anyone be surprised by that? Not me. I will not go further into the ways in which Princetown is being disserved by this town board. You know, people can talk all they want about how much you guys are getting done. What? No, come on. I'm going to save that for another meeting. Tonight, I want to sing the praises of Susan Schaefer, who truly is the only member of this town board who represents the citizens of the town. She has been working in an adverse climate since her August 8th statement will only make her even more ostracized by this supervisor and these members of the town board, his cronies. It's a shame. There are many more like me who wish to thank Susan for speaking out. Her integrity and courage are indicators of her character. That's what it is, it's character. She stood up to you bullies. She hit the nail squarely on the head on August 8th, and I can only offer her my encouragement to stand tough in the face of the bullies on this town board that make a mockery of self-government. And everybody's sitting up there smugly smiling at the Pollock up here who's all outraged. But it's true. You guys are disgraced. Good night.
Thank you, Joe. Lisa, someone wants to come up and say
You go right
something.
ahead.
I don't have anything written or prepared, but I just have to, my name's Linda Gaddis, and I live on Stockbridge Road. I've been in Princetown since 1992, and I just have to say that the residences of Princetown speak through their voting. And I feel that people need to accept what the residents decide. And it just seems like there's people who will refuse to accept it. So I don't understand that. The same thing's happening in the federal government. It's happening all over the country. That when the people stand up and choose who they want to represent them, people decide to make it their agenda to fight the representatives that the people have chosen, which means they're fighting the residences of the town. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Linda.
May I speak?
Then you're next.
I've always felt like I should be one to take the high road, and I always have. And I really take exception to all the different lies and things that have been coming out in our town, okay? About the board, about myself, okay? I take exception to that. When I was in office, in your position, Lou, I did try to do everything I could openly. I worked very close with our bookkeeper. It's been said that we overspent on our budget. Never happened. I worked very close with Isla. She gave us as the board, myself, which was relayed to the board, direction and guidance as far as what we could spend and what we could not. Now they say we didn't do anything. Okay, we didn't overspend our budget, and that particular budget happened to be Mike's budget to begin with, that we had to work with. But neither here nor there, we did highway work, which very little had been done in years. We took and followed up and took care of our security system, which was put in when this building was made, but it went nowhere. So people can say we were spending money, but we weren't spending it foolishly. We were doing things that needed to be done for our town. Again, it's just a disgrace. It's an embarrassment when people out in the community look at our town and this handful of people that's trying to create problems all the time for our people. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up stepping down. I'm not a quitter. I have felt really bad since I ended up stepping down. But from the Justice Office to this handful of people, they just wouldn't quit. You know, when they talk about bringing the FBI in and investigating you over nothing, the lies that they were sending out in letters about myself and my father, when it started attacking my family, that's when I kind of put the icing on the cake. It wasn't worth it, okay? But neither here nor there, in those letters, I just want to reiterate again, the letters were lies, okay? They talked about a situation in my life back years ago, totally lie. They talked about my father's a reverend, totally lie. I mean, this is the kind of people that I hope that our Princetown residents will beware of, because this is the way they operate, this is the only way they can win and get any headway, is to tell falsehoods. So again, I just want to take the high road. It has troubled me that even in the letters that have come out just recently, our town board is doing a great job. I appreciate every one of you, and I'm here to work with you, and as you can see, there's a lot of our town people that are behind you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Lisa?
I just have to kind of comment on Mr. Brzezinski's statements, just a couple of quick points. Okay, I'm going to reiterate, okay? Susan plays the victim. Poor Susan. I mistreated. Susan's the initiator. Make it clear. She's not a victim of anything. Joe Brzezinski's loyalty to Susan, while maybe honorable between them, is very misguided, okay? It should be working hand in hand with this town, okay? For his neighbors, for everybody's neighbors, for the town. But again, it's north, south, the whole spiel, okay? He's very misguided, okay? And as far as Susan's comments, I think they were very inappropriate. I don't think she should be commended, not one bit. I think she embarrassed herself to the max. And she's done it more than once, on more than one occasion at these meetings, okay? I'm done.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Is there anyone else?
Lou, there was one thing I just wanted to mention in regards to the letter that was read last meeting. It was indicated that I had mistreated women. Well, I don't mistreat women, and as far as the board member, Ms. Schaefer, there were many times that I had tried to call and contact her on many different issues, and I couldn't get her. I even had to personally take and run letters that needed to get to her. I dropped them off at her own home personally, and she wouldn't even be there, so I'd have to give them to another family member. But it's just, again, these things aren't true.
Thank you, Bob. Nicole? State your name and
Nicole
address.
Mora, I live on 362 Birchwood Drive. I just want to say, in regards to Bob's comments right now about, respect for his women, I'm a young woman in this town. I campaigned with Louis. I've been very close with this board over the years, and I've received nothing but full support and respect. These men do not mistreat women at all, and I would not associate with any person who's not going to treat women with respect. I wouldn't do that, as I support any woman who wants to do anything, and I'm not going to associate with someone who can't respect women, because I'm a young woman, and I received nothing but great support from all the men on this board and Bob. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just one more comment quick, okay? And I'm done, I have to leave. I just have to say that Susan has not been an asset at all. She's been a hindrance to the board and to the town. That's all, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, we'll close the privilege of the floor at 7:31. Highway, Nick?
Yeah, well, I got quite a few things to say. I don't write nothing down, so bear with me in my heart and my old head. I got a lot of thank yous to make. I want to thank this town for what I thought was excellent voting judgment. That's the first thing. The second thing was Empire Paving did work for us. They did an excellent job. They paved the corners on Willow Run like I've never been before. And their price was so reasonable. And I really want to thank them. I want them to know, you know, everybody's been so good to this town. And also the Schenectady County, Joe Ryan and Pete Drago and his crew. I call them and they jump right on and do whatever we want. And right now they did Willow Run at the shoulders. They got that all done for us. And the only other thing came up was I just signed some paperwork, which Lou knows about, which for a road cut on Ruta Drive. And the other thing I did was I went to D'Agostino Block Company. I checked around to see what we can do with this driveway, make it look better. And they said to put paving blocks in it. They couldn't come up with anything more than we thought of, you know. So what I come up with I'd like a board member, maybe a Lou, to come with me and go to fence companies. This might be something you might all want to think about. It might be worth doing. Is get a nice fence on each side of the road, only about 4 foot high. Sort of like the State Trooper Barracks fence. It's very attractive. And have a pole on each side with a gate, have hinges on it. So when winter time comes, when it snows, we can open the gates and let the plow go through. Then we can close the gate again after the plowing. But this is just a suggestion, and we can kick it around. But we got to check with the fence companies and get prices on what they want to do this. The fence would have to be hinged, and it wouldn't close the whole road off. The middle would stay open, just from each side, like the barricades we got now, and it looked pretty, you know. They got some real attractive white fences that you can put up. So maybe we can go looking around, so everyone wants to come with me and make a decision on that, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. The reason that we need the barricades up there is to stop the trucks from coming in. We all know what happened with the gazebo that was run over by a truck and we never caught who did it. That's the reason we have the barrels up there. Seems to be working. We haven't had any come in, so. And we certainly don't want any more coming in and destroying the gazebo. Okay, thank you, Nick. Any questions for Nick?
I'll get some prices on this. I'll come up with the next meeting and let you know, get some idea of what, if you can decide what you want to do. Because I can't think of anything else, and anybody else who got another idea, bring it up to us, you know what I mean? Let's see what we do.
I actually like that fence idea. We might even be able to get some flower planters to put on the front in the spring and summertime and put some flowers. I'm sure most of us would volunteer to put them in. It would look very attractive and make our town look more presentable as people come in. And we do get a lot of traffic through here.
Yeah, Jim, and the county, Pete Drago, he's in with signs now. He'll give us a nice sign to put on the fence, you know what I'm saying? Saying no trucks allowed. And we don't want a high fence in there. We just want to let the truckers know they can't get through there, because we don't want the wind to give us trouble. So I figured we'll see if the fence company can come up with something 4 foot high. Very attractive. They got some beautiful fences. I was looking at, you know, at Lulls and that. So let's shoot for that and see what happens. I'll get prices.
Yeah, and Cheryl came up with an idea with the barrels that they have with in Scotia with flowers on them too, to dress it up. So.
Well, I checked with D'Agostino if they could make stuff for us to put plants in. But he says that there's no guarantee that they're going to live. Usually they die when they do that. You got to keep changing them every year. And the frost, if water gets in it, you got to have drain on the bottom where they'll bust open.
Right.
And he come up with decorative stones that they're putting on walls. But, you know, we don't want to go put stone in the middle of the road there. I didn't care for that too much, that's a big job. You know, and then it wouldn't be, huh?
Can't blow.
No, with a gate, with 2 fences with a gate, we can get it right out of the way in the winter, and have the plow not go close to the fence when they plow it. Just say about 10 foot away from each side, and I can come in with a backhoe and clean it up after, you know? So that should work nice.
Okay, we'll take a ride down there then.
Yeah, let's check it out.
All right, any other questions for Nick? Okay, thank you, Nick.
Okay.
Water, George Mead is at, taking classes for the water department, it's mandatory. He's been at classes all day and I guess tonight too, so he won't be here with a report. I can tell you that we had 2 water main breaks again. One was up on Settles Hill Road, and the other one was on Pangburn Road, in almost the same spot it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, Doug, right across from Doug's home. That was repaired last week, so.
And I was there in last.
Pardon?
I was there in last.
Yeah. Thank you. And that's one of the reasons we're going to have to start repairing this water system, upgrading it. Code enforcement, I think Tom is off tonight. And Ben Moore, and he's committed to Wednesday Rotterdam's meeting. I think it's his wife that's here tonight. Thank you for being able to come and broadcast our meeting. But he did have a problem with a dog, a stray that he was called about. Somebody brought a stray dog from the Pilot truck stop over to the state police barracks, and apparently it would belong to a trucker. He had gotten loose and he didn't know where he went. Somebody picked him up that was there and brought him to the state police. Am I correct in that, Sandy?
Yes.
And they put it up on Facebook and up on a website. Apparently the trucker was in New Hampshire and found out about it and he came back. He was in the pound for a night, am I correct? He paid for to have the dog. But I must say that Ben retrieved the dog from the pound and kept him for a day. Was that correct too?
It was a few hours
few
before
hours?
the trucker was going to be back here, yes.
Until he got back, so we want to thank Ben for doing that and taking care of that problem. Other than that, I don't think he had anything else going on, did he?
No.
We don't have anything from the judge. The assessor is at meetings all week long, training. Am I correct in that assumption too?
Yes.
He'll be out, he was out all this week. That's why his car has been here all week. He's required to take training every year too. So, buildings and grounds, they started putting in the security systems, cameras to monitor the building. You know that we had the flag stolen out by the gazebo, and tires were dumped in the garbage bin out there, and so they began installing that today. They haven't finished it yet. We're lacking one camera, and we asked them to put up another camera because it didn't focus on the front door enough. They're coming back to finish the job. It's a 16 camera. It can go up to 16 cameras, where the other one only could do 4. It'll keep all of the security, the premises of the building secure. The cameras are facing on both sides of the building, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, another one is going to be on the gazebo and the flagpole. So if any trucks do come in and there's any damage done, we'll be able to know who it is by monitoring the system. Sandy and Isla were here and when we were versed in how to operate it. It's going to be receivers in the supervisor's office. Isla has a key to it. If I'm not around or available and there's a problem, she can get in there, and both Sandy and Isla will be able to operate it and see what's been going on and retrieve any data that may have been on there if there was any problems with the perimeter of the building. I'm gonna be getting estimates for the state police for the garage doors. They'd like 3 garage doors. We're not gonna do the paving, as I said last month. We had a problem with a little leak in the women's bathroom. Our preferred provider, Mark Carandy, he does most of our plumbing around the building, along with our boiler work. He came over and took care of it, so that problem was taken care of. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else. Anybody has any questions for me? Okay. Moving right along then, public hearings, we have none. Meeting minutes. It is hereby resolved that the meeting minutes of the August 8, 2017 regular town board meeting are approved or as amended. I personally am not going to cast a vote in the affirmative. The letter that was read was not complete with what was said on the video. So I'm going to vote in the, I'm not going to vote in the affirmative on that, but Sandy, would you read the roll?
Councilman Balloli.
Oh, wait a second, is there a motion to accept? Well, there's no motion.
I wasn't here, so I got to abstain.
Okay. Okay, then, there's no motion to accept, so we're gonna have to move right along then. Am I correct? Zoning amendment, call for a public hearing. Be it resolved that a public hearing be called on October 10th, 2017 for the purpose of considering public comment on a proposed amendment to the town code to allow a parcel of real property that is situated in is that 2 zoning? In 2 zoning?
It's residential.
Zoning classifications to use either zoning classification or the more restrictive zoning classification for the entire parcel. Be it resolved that the town clerk is directed to publish the required notice for the public hearing. Be it also resolved that the proposed amendment be referred to the Schenectady County Planning Agency in accordance with GML section 239-M.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Sandy?
Councilman Balloli.
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo.
Yes.
Councilman Gray.
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito.
Yes. General funds claim. It is hereby resolved that the town board approves claims number 160-number 189 in the amount of $21,665.95. Discussion on it? Motion to accept?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Balloli.
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo.
Yes.
Councilman Gray.
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito.
Yes. Upon the motion of water funds claim, upon the motion of council member and second by council member, hereby resolved that the town board approves claim number 76-number 90 in the amount of $3,539.68.
I'll make the motion.
Any discussion on it first? Doug, make the motion.
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Balloli.
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo.
Yes.
Councilman Gray.
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito.
Yes. Highway claims, upon motion of council member, second by council member, hereby resolved that the town board approves claims number 4 in the amount of $145.66 for signs and installation. Discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Sandy?
Councilman Balloli.
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo.
Yes.
Councilman Gray.
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito.
Yes. Council member comments and/or discussions?
Is that the last one? Do we have one more here? Okay.
Doug?
I got nothing to say.
Ben?
I think we've had a decent year this year for the most part. I think we've accomplished a lot, and I think we've been functioning as a board pretty well. I hope as we move into the political season that we can continue to do that up here, regardless of what happens. Like I said, I think we've done a lot of good things, and that's what we need to focus on. And we need to keep the peace through November and make sure that we're continuing to do the right thing. That's it.
Jim?
Yeah, just want to update everybody on the CPR classes. They're almost all filled up. I also would like to once again thank Dr. Pomeroy for not only initiating it, but funding it, and taking care of the instructors and everything else. It's really a wonderful and neighborly thing to do. As a retired professional paramedic, I can assure you that timely CPR and or choking maneuvers or any of these things definitely save lives. I mean, this is something that we have, you know, I lived it, I worked it, I saw it. In fact, I was trained by Dr. Pomeroy. And so I'm thrilled that the number of folks have signed up. We have 3 pages almost completely filled. We do have a few slots left open on September 23rd. That would be Saturday, starting at 8:30 a.m. So we do have a few slots open there, and if anybody would like to sign up, I would you know, encourage them to do so. And a couple of slots on Thursday, September 28th. The Tuesday, September 19th is completely filled, so we have no more room there. So once again, we're going to have a lot of trained people knowing how to do CPR in the town of Princetown, which is a great thing. And again, Dr. Pomeroy, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is that it, Jim?
That's it for me, yes.
Okay, I've got some comments I have to make here. People have called me, and there's been a lot of rumors floating around that that we should be partnering with Duanesburg and Glenville to get our fair share of the revenues from the gaming. I have to tell you this, we do not negotiate with them. This is set by the state legislature and the governor. I think it's 3%, if I'm not correct. We do not negotiate with them. I don't know how these rumors are starting, that we should be doing this. We have no say in what our revenues are going to be from the gaming industry, and they're not subject to negotiations. It was also said that the budget of 2016 was overspent. The budget of 2016 was created in 2015. The budget was $632,724 on revenues of $413,234. The only thing that was done extra in that, and under Bob's leadership, we reduced the spending down. We kept the spending down to a bare minimum. The only thing we did that was over and above, we began a 3-year plan to pave Willow Run. We're now in the 2nd year of that phase, and hopefully next year it'll be completed. That $54,309 that's being tossed around was spent on the roads in Willow Run. And that budget was not created by the board in 2016, and I might add that every member of the town board, past and present this year, voted in the affirmative to complete this project and to move forward with it. There's also been talk that rumors being spread around that the town is broke. Nothing can be farther from the truth. We've begun our work on the 2018 tentative budget. We had no arguments about it so far. Our budget will probably exceed $500,000 this year with our share of the gaming revenues. There is no need for a town tax that everybody keeps saying that we're heading that in that direction. That's totally false. The water department. There's rumors spreading around that the water department is broke. Again, nothing is farther from the truth. The problem with the water system is we applied for a grant which was suggested to us by McDonald Engineering. They found that there was grants available to upgrade water systems. When the water system was originally put in, the first phase of the water system, they used bands and bolts that ended up being rusting out and corroded and failing. At the time they were installed, it was the correct bolts at the time that were supposed to last, but they ended up having to upgrade them since then. So, and we applied for a grant to do this all at once rather than piecemeal it as we have done in this last month. We had 2 other failures, and we applied for a grant of $600,000. The water department is far from broke. Procurement policy, they say we should be, there's rumors around that we should be redoing our procurement policy. We have a list of preferred vendors for repairs and emergencies that cover the town hall, the state police barracks. When something breaks, we cannot go out and start getting estimates. Our computer failed, crashed, the bookkeeper's computer failed and crashed last week. We have a preferred provider on this. If we would have had to wait for Best Buy on a Sunday afternoon to see what the cost of the computers are and start comparing it, our bookkeeper, Isla Mead, would be out of business and we wouldn't be able to pay our bills. The software, if I'm not mistaken, is on there, Jim, to...
Yes, they were supposed to work on it today. Did they work on it, finish it up today?
I don't think it was finished today, it was still installed.
Yeah, they're in the process.
But they came over and corrected the problem, and we're getting a new monitor. That's something that we cannot, when something fails, we have to go out and get it done right away. We just can't be fooling around waiting. When the state police has a failure over there, we do have preferred providers. Carver takes care of the emergency water breaks. Like I said, Carandy's been doing our major repairs here, the boiler and any water leaks we have. Jeffrey Hayden takes care of all of the electrical. He's got to go over to state police. When they call, they had a failure over there. The breakers were blowing. He went over and corrected it right away. We can't be going out and waiting for try to get 3 estimates. We'll never get anything done around here. Been talked about, we didn't upgrade our general code. Well, there was a problem with that. I was not in favor of that to begin with. It was a waste of $15,000 in my opinion. I said we could have done this on our own, placed it on the website. Jim has offered to do that, and we wouldn't have to pay a maintenance fee every year. Rumors around about an agenda meeting was canceled. The reason why we did away with that was because the agenda meetings became town board meeting when none of the public was present. We ended up voting on resolutions that should have been voted on at the regularly scheduled town board meeting. That was one of the reasons that was canceled, and nothing was being done except passing resolutions that should have been done, and in my opinion, just sneaking things by. There was rumors about, that was stated at the last meeting that we should have used our attorney to handle that lawsuit that was filed against the town for the appointment of the supervisor and the appointment of a council member. And, well, I can tell you this. There was 3 harassment charges against our former supervisor, placed against the town, against 3 women that had, I would say, they've been in this town for generations. Our former attorney charged the town over and above what we paid them, the $32,000 or $34,000, it's off the top of my head, I don't remember, over $9,000 to represent the town, over and above, because he said it wasn't his scope of work. So when it was said that our attorney should have handled that case, that wasn't his scope of work either when we negotiated our contract with him. Them 2 lawsuits cost the town $17,000. It was also said that our council member wasn't asked to be at to work the town for the Vietnam Wall. It was said at every meeting, I said it, I was not the supervisor at the time, but we were in charge of it, along with Jim, Hannah, and my wife, Cheryl, and Doug Thorpe. Each of us had a job to do. We all had our, what we had to do, split up. Hannah and Carol McLean were in charge of raising the funds. Jim and Hannah took care of the volunteers, and I might add, Jim.
Yeah, actually, I hired a private concern for the volunteers because we needed over 100. And it was various times, and I just simply couldn't do that. I didn't want to maintain the database on my own, so at my own expense, I hired a firm to do that. There was a link on our town website to that firm. Everyone knew that. Everyone in town, everyone out of town. We had people from Rotterdam, Schenectady, Glenville, people from all over the county signed up via that website that I purchased. You know, it's unfortunate that someone thinks that they could not have volunteers. Everybody, we needed volunteers desperately. I don't want to keep bringing up Susan Schaefer, but she claims we never asked her. Everyone was asked publicly, and it was on the town website, and you just go to the link and sign up. I think it's called signup.com. And you go to that spot and you sign up everything. And like I said, I had people, dozens and dozens of people from all over the county, and even some from quite far away who found that website and signed up. So everyone was asked to volunteer. No one was left out. It was a very simple process, and it was explained to everyone. And it was a little expensive, but I paid for it because it was effective and it worked.
It was also, is that it, Jim?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, it was also stated over here that Ivanella and Larner charged us over $500 for gravel and sand for the Vietnam Wall. That is not true. When we had our cleanup day here at the beginning of the year, before we even had the wall come in, we needed fill to fill in for the ruts and the low spots in the grounds. We ordered gravel for the state police and eventually to be spread for this road in the back, which we still have it in the back and it wasn't spread yet. The sand that was left over was put over in the parking lot, and they did use the rest of it for the wall, the ramp that led up to the wall. Ivanella, or Larner, delivered multiple loads of sand when the wall was being constructed, the ramp was being constructed, and he never charged us for those. That was not done for the wall. The only cost to the town for that wall was the toiletries and keeping the town hall open 24 hours a day, and Jack White donated a trailer so Doug Thorpe could stay here and watch the town hall all night. And they didn't want their name on the board that was terrible that was up there. Larner donated $500 and so did Ivanella. They donated $500, and I've got a list. My wife took care of the donations, keeping track of the bookkeeping. There's a list here if anybody wants to see it, who donated what and how we raised over $9,000 to bring the wall here. It was also stated over here, my aunt's name was mentioned. I have no idea why my aunt's name was mentioned. She was the longest-serving town clerk in New York State, probably close to 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. I have no idea why her name was brought up. She passed away 6 years ago with a very debilitating, disease that and I don't understand why her name was even mentioned. It was also stated that our letters are being written by ourselves. Well, I can assure you, we didn't write the letters. Bob and I personally delivered those letters to the state police, and they were sent over to their lab in Albany for fingerprints. And they did not recover any fingerprints on them because whoever wrote them must have used their gloves. And there was no fingerprints on them. They have the letters. We don't even have most of them. They have the letters. We would certainly not have turned over letters to the state police that we wrote. I mean, I don't even know how anybody could come up with a statement like that. Other than that, I've got nothing else other than to say that they did repave the pump house over on Gifford Church Road. That was approved by the town board to do that, one of the meetings. So that was done this past week. And other than that, I don't have anything else.
I have one more quick thing. Our newsletter will be, our fall newsletter will be coming out shortly. If you have anything that you would like to contribute to the newsletter, and whether you're a citizen or an officer of the town, please get it to me. I can give you my email or my phone number. In fact, I'll give it to Sandy, and anybody that would like to contact me can contact Sandy, and she can pass that along. So if you have a letter, an article, something, we do try to maintain the newsletter apolitical, so there's nothing, we don't do anything political in it, but if you have an interesting story, or if you are an officer of the town and you want to do a report, certainly get a hold of me, and if you don't feel like writing it, I will come to you, and you may dictate it to me, and I'll write it. So it's not a problem. I'll give my information to Sandy, and anybody that would like to add anything to the newsletter, you can get that to me through Sandy. She'll give you my contacts.
If anybody would like to see the donation list for the wall, they're more than welcome to have copies. I've got many copies here if anybody wants them. They're more than welcome to have one. If anybody wants to see the vouchers that were written for the over the $9,000 that we were charged, that's they're more than welcome to have that. Anything else? Okay, then I guess is there a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoldi?
Yes.
Councilman Jackaruso?
Yes.
Councilman Gregg?
Yes.
Councilman, or Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, we'll close the meeting at 8:05. 8:05. Oh, one other thing, we did have the flag retirement ceremony here. Just a side note, Angela Santa Barbara put it in. We had an excellent turnout. He wants to do that every year if possible. The veterans were all here. VFW, I forgot who else was here.
Folks.
Yeah. And
Sheriff's Department.
Sheriff's Department, yes, the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts were here.
I
Yes,
think the Browns were there
it was an excellent turnout, so just want to thank everybody that
too.
participated in
There
it.
wasn't any, there was only a handful of the town board that was there.
Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you again, Dr. Pomeroy, for taking care of the CPR. We certainly do appreciate it.